Good afternoon, everybody. Jeff Blankman right now talking with ArWeVa head boys basketball coach Tim Bell. Tim's been coaching at ArWeVa for the past 39 years and announced his retirement as a teacher and a coach here just a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. And Tim, I want to thank you very much for giving us some time here today.
No, thank you, Jeff, and thanks for all. We talked about this before over the air, but thanks for all the coverage you guys do for us. It really makes a big difference for us, especially, Westside's getting to be, older retirement people, same way as Vale and Arcadia. They can't get out as much, but you guys, 6-7 games at least you did for us this year, so we really appreciate, and the people of the community think very highly of you guys for doing that for us.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. Let's go back to your youth. Grew up in Irvine. You participated, I'm sure, in all of the sports. What was it like growing up, and what were you like as a kid, and what got you interested in athletics?
Well, O-line is probably about the same size as Carroll back then. Back then we were probably 8,000 plus. It was a railroad town. They had the Chicago Northwestern Railroad there, and they had a drainage tile company, and then they had Purina Dog Chow were the main industries, along with Donaldson's, where my dad worked and my older brother. But very similar, like I said, with side of Carroll. I played all kinds of sports. Back then you played everything. You were always out for baseball, basketball, football, track. Everything that was involved, you always did it. And if it wasn't basketball, we had wrestling. But other than that, that was the main sport you had. But all the way through from junior high, we had 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And we just enjoyed doing it. We were kind of like our junior class here right now. You did everything.
Right.
And Owine had a nice facility they had the baseball diamond down probably about 5 blocks away from the house. They had the swimming pool right there, and they had basketball courts. So during the summer, we spent the whole summer time from once the sun got up until I went down in the Wings Park was the name of the place, swimming, playing baseball, and playing basketball. We won't talk about what type of kid I was growing up, okay? I was one of those guys.
You like to have a little fun?
Yeah, we were hellions, I guess. Probably the best way we can say. Hopefully, we can say that. But that's we had a good time, So that's enough.
Tim, what was your favorite sport growing up?
Probably baseball. I played catcher, and I found out at an early age that nobody wanted to play catcher. So if I wanted to play, I always played catcher. But enjoyed playing catcher. I went to college at Upper Iowa in Fayette and played baseball and caught a little bit, but played mostly outfield. But no, that was probably my favorite sport. But basketball was probably second. Football was probably third, and then track was my least favorite. Only thing I know about track is you run fast and try to veer left.
I think most kids probably tell you that track's the least favorite. Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys have a lot of success? Did that keep you involved, or was it just the enjoyment of playing the games?
No, we were very successful. We had the kids I grew up with, we were really successful. We didn't lose our first football, basketball game until we were in 9th graders. And in 9th grade, the better kids, a couple of my friends got moved up to the sophomore level and JV and stuff like that. So, yeah, we were really good. And we had a traveling baseball league that we played on, and football. Back then, we had 7th grade team and an 8th grade team, and we played the conference school. We played Waverly, Charles City, and New Hampton, and area schools like that. And we were really successful, and we enjoyed playing, and we liked to do it.
Which coaches did you have as a youth or even in college that maybe helped you decide that coaching was something that you wanted to do?
Well, my basketball coach, Bob Downs, was the ones that got me interested in basketball. And I was a little kid when I was growing up. I played guard and stuff like that. And I did, when I was in 12th grade, I was 5'10", 155 pounds. And by the time school started, I was 6'2", 175 pounds. But our starting lineup on our basketball team, the smallest person on the team was 6'2". And we had, our starting lineup was 6'7", 6'7", 6'5", 6'2", 6'2". And we also had in Owine, we had Owine Sacred Heart, and at that time, we had only 2 classes. We had the large class and we had the small class. Sacred Heart was in the small class. We were in the large class. We were both ranked within the top 10 schools in the state at one time during that year. We ended up getting beat by Decorah go to the state basketball team when I was a senior. They ended up getting beat by Elkader Central. Elkader Central ended up winning the state that year. So we had a bunch of good kids when we were growing up, and it was very competitive. And we'd always play with whoever wanted to play. So come on down. We had some adults that would come down and play. So that's how we got better, just playing the competition during the summer.
Did you take any of the coaching aspects of how you played and how you were taught into what you coach today still?
If you come in, look in my filing cabinet in my office, there is still some Owine Husky booklets, pamphlets in there that I got from him. The college basketball coach, Bill Prohaska at Upper Iowa, was the legend up there. We always had classes for coaching, and he taught the basketball one, and I got a lot of drills and stuff from him. So, yeah, there's a lot of information. And, back when we first started, that's the only way you got the information. You had to go to a clinic or something like that and talk to somebody, or talk to somebody that would give it to you and stuff like that. Nowadays, you just go online and you can get as much information or anything you want, and it's a lot easier as far as getting drills and stuff like that. But back then, we had to beg, borrow, and steal to get our stuff.
Has it changed for the better, you think?
I think it has. There's more information out there. There's more things you can do. You can pick your own style of what you want to do. You can have 100 different shooting drills at your fingertips in a matter of instant. So if you got somebody you want to work on this type, you just type it in and it's there. Back then, there was not. You had generic shooting drills. You had big guy moves and you had little guy moves, and a few offenses. And the offenses, basically, you got those from the college coaches, and you had to go buy a book or something like that to get that stuff. Like nowadays, you go online, you can go talk about champion videos. You can get anything you want from any of the college coaches and some of the high school coaches. So that's the big difference.
How much do you think that's benefited coaches at the high school level?
I think it has. I think it's benefited a lot because you look at it, everything starts up here and filters this way down. We were on the last ones to get it down here, but it's tried and true. You just got to make sure, okay, is this what you want to do? Is that going to fit your scheme? You got to decide what kind of players you have, and then you got to pick the stuff that you think is going to fit their personality. And if you get that figured out, then you'll be all right.
We're talking with Tim Bell right now, the, retired ArWeVa boys basketball coach. And again, the interview brought to you today by Western Iowa Networks. And, Coach, what brought you to ArWeVa 39 years ago?
Called a job. Graduated Upper Iowa in 76, and I had physical education and coaching were my majors and minor. And first year I didn't get a job. And so went back home and went to UNI. I worked the summer and the fall, and then in the spring of 76, I went ahead and worked. I went to college and then ended up getting a science endorsement through the state of Iowa. It's not actually a minor, but it's enough hours to teach science classes. And then we went ahead and had interviews at Clearfield. It was one of them, and I can't remember. There was 2 or 3 interviews, and then got invited to an interview here, and came down and Bob Nielsen, the old superintendent, was the one that was putting on the interviewing because Daryl Hazelhoff, the principal, before I got here, had retired, and they had not hired Dave Wyckoff yet. So Bob did the interview, and I said, well, hopefully I'm going to be able to get a job at one of these spots. Never did hear anything. Finally, Bob calls and says, well, you got the job if you want it. And I said, yeah, I'll take it. So we came down, signed the contract, and I was head boys basketball, head boys baseball, and assistant football, and junior high science, and there was that one high school science class ecology that I taught, and came down here and got the job and made a whopping $9,900.
What was it like coming to Westside, Iowa? Did you move here to Westside right away?
Yes, we did. There used to be a house right north of the gym that Sigabarts used to have. Jay and Sue Sigabarts, Jay's dad used to own it. It was a great big old house, and we went ahead and rented that, and Dennis Bradshaw and Dave Cochran and Dela Schumacher helped us move in, the football coaches and basketball coaches, and it was quite an experience because when we walked into the bedroom, it was black and gray, and this is an old house, and when wintertime came along, we found out we had fuel oil, and so a majority of our money that year was going to pay for the fuel oil, and the windows were really old and rickety. We ended up putting we put quilts up to keep the wind from blowing in, and it was kind of pushing the quilts and stuff, but we survived. We moved to a house up by the bought a house up by the park and stayed there for a while. And then in '96, I bought the house right across from the school here, and that's where I've lived ever since.
Tim, what were the early years like coaching?
Oh, it was fun. We had a good bunch of kids. Terry Rickers, Russell Hawley, Chip Tiedemann, Dan Cook, Kevin Hagee were the 5 starters for us that year. Scott Lindy played for us. We had Jim Iverson and Roger Lichty, Rick Regaller. Those years I can remember. I can remember those guys. But you start talking about in the '90s or even in the beginning of 2000, it's getting to be fuzzy. But it was fun. We had a good bunch of kids. We ran a 1-3-1 offense. Everybody played zone. We played man-to-man. I've always played man-to-man. Every once in a while, we'll play some zone. We played matchup zone with Mark Regaller and Mark Wyckoff and Jimmy Stoke and those guys and Colby Grass. But most of the time we always played man-to-man. But it was fun. Al Cook was coaching at Logan Magnolia back then.
Yeah.
And so I got to meet Al that way. But it was a culture shock. Owine's gym is very comparable to Denison's gym.
Okay.
And so you got this mammoth gym you come into,
Yep.
and now I'm coming into these places where, like Schleswig, you got this stage over there, and Russell Hollybaugh got killed because down each side of the stage where the locker rooms went, he went head over heels over that, caught himself on the crown molding to straighten himself so he could land on his feet. But no, it was kind of a culture shock for me coming, just seeing the gyms and stuff like that, how small they were and stuff like that. But it was coaching, and we just went from there, and you just adjusted and had a good time.
You said you played man-to-man. Everybody else was playing zone. Ooh, did you play man-to-man in high school, and is that why?
Yeah,
or,
we did.
Or what?
Yeah,
is that what led you?
We played them both. We played zone, but we were more or less a man-to-man team. Oh, I forgot to mention that we also played Dow City area.
Yes.
Home of the Blankman here, and and that was kind of fun. We always remember we had the redhead lady always sat in the front row.
Yeah.
I can't think, but anyway, but they were always there. You always had these figures that were, whenever you came, you knew this lady and her husband were going to be right there in the front row, right on the half-court line, and stuff like that. But that's what made it enjoyable about like that. Bigger schools, you don't have that type of personality, You have your diehards, stuff like that, like your Charlie Shrams down in Manila, who was a big mainstay for them for a long time. And, there's just people like that, and that's what makes the small school so enjoyable. But yeah, it was fun.
Did you feel at home almost right away then when it came to coaching?
Yeah, with the people in the community, like I said, the coaches, staff, and stuff like that, made it a very welcome place. People are very friendly here like that, and it didn't take long, to make camaraderies with the other coaches and stuff, and that's what makes it nice. Small schools, especially the conference, if you need something, you just call them, they'd ask, and they would do it. I had a good relationship with Bruce Jepson over in Glidden for a long time, and Bobby Doherty was at Dunlap, and Bill Miller down in ICAM or Manning, basically, or Manila, and you had people that were the mainstays that had been there for a long time and stuff like that. The older people, and then they took care of the younger guys and made it easier for you.
Do you still find it like that today?
Yeah, but the way around. Yes, I am the old guy. Trent Lally over in Charter Oak, asked for things. Kyle Bartles down in Woodbine. Charlie or Corey Myers, and then you got Newt down in Coon Rapids Bayard. In Elkhorn Kimballton is getting to be the older guy in the league now, but you just help everybody else. If somebody needs something, says what do you do against this, and you tell them, "Here, let me look at my files. I might have something for you, and I can send it to you and stuff like that." But yeah, you help anybody else that asks for it because that's what happened to you. You got help from them, and you might as well give it back. So.
I was going to say, a unique story just this year. I was calling your guys' doubleheader over at Coon Rapids Bayard earlier this year, and the officials made a mistake and took away a timeout from Coon Rapids Bayard when you had called it. You actually looked down to the other end of the bench and to the other coaches, Corey Meyer, and you said, when you guys want to call your timeout, let me know and I'll call it. That's a unique thing. I don't think many coaches would do that, would they?
And it's just, okay, yeah, they got screwed out of a timeout, okay, and I didn't even know it until they said something.
Right.
I said, what the heck, most of the time we don't use all our timeouts anyway and stuff like that. And Okay, so we're going to lose a timeout. Well, big deal, And once somebody else said, "Yeah, well, I bet you'd say that if you weren't that far ahead." I said, "I doubt it. If he needs a timeout and he's going to use them, that's fine." And it's a teaching experience.
Yeah.
Corey's team was relatively young, and they're going to be good in the future and stuff like that. But what the heck, it's just might as well do something. It's not going to. If you get beat, you get beat. That's one thing that's been a little bit different. I lived and died by that win and stuff like that, and took the losses really, really, really hard. And as I got older, as I told people, I've mellowed out quite a bit, because you didn't want to be around me after a loss. Or I used to be really, really competitive, and I'm not that way anymore. I've calmed down a little bit. Some people say I haven't, but yes, I have.
When do you feel like that started to change for you?
It as the age went along, at first, that competitiveness, because I was still playing, town team basketball when we first started. We were playing fast pitch softball. We were playing slow pitch softball. And the people I played with, they were very competitive. And the people we played against were very competitive, and it just kept that way. And as the years went along, the competitiveness just kind of, if we win, great. Yeah, I don't like losing, but hopefully we're going to learn something from it.
When did you coach many other sports here? You were on the football staff, the baseball staff. When did you start giving some of those jobs up and kind of start focusing more on just basketball?
The baseball was the following year. I figured somebody else could do that one, and then they found somebody. Football, I stayed 11 years. We had Dawes Schumacher for the first year, Dave Cochran the second year, and for a while, and then Jerry Tryon came in. And Craig Christopherson was assistant coach, and then Tim Braby came in, who was the girls' coach when they went to state for the first time. Came in, I told C, okay, Braby wants to go. He wants to come in and be the assistant coach. All right. I said, C, do you want to stay, or do you want me to stay? C says, well, I need the money. He says, fine, you can have it, and I got it. So I had 11 years of football coaching, and that was playing. Then I went into refereeing with Wyckoff and Bradshaw and those guys, and had a very enjoyable time. Still do it today. We do the ArWeVa games, and we go up to ESAC and do their junior high games. So, I still enjoy doing that too.
How much are you going to stay active still doing that?
I like to. I like to say, especially the football, it's very hard trying to find officials anymore. I don't care what it is. Being an athletic director, I found that difficult trying to just for basketball. Football, we gave up assigning our own crews. I go through a gentleman in Council Bluff that gets them for us and stuff like that. But no, I enjoy that yet, and it's still a lot of fun, and it's still around the kids. And I might tell Mr. Brasomley if they need somebody for middle school basketball, I may come back and do some refereeing for that too.
Talking with Tim Bell right now, again, the retiring head boys basketball coach for the ArWeVa Rockets. Tim, you've had a tremendous amount of success. Had to double check with you on your record, but 527 career victories at ArWeVa. With that much success, is there a period that you consider more your golden years, or as far as the success or do you think you've been lucky to kind of string success together your entire career?
Well, I think it's been lucky. First few years I think that first year we were 19-3, and then 18-2. The first few years we had a pretty good stretch in there that I can't remember my first losing season. It was in there, but then we had one year we went 2-20. But it's one of those deals that we do all right, and then we'd be down for a little bit, and then came back and stuff. We had the hills and valleys like a lot of the programs do, and we took our lumps at times, which is fine. We talked about when Nate Pody and Adam Piper and those guys were young. We went ahead and got thumped pretty good. And we started playing them as freshmen, getting more playing time. I think we ended up 5-15 that year. And the next year, I think we were like 12-11. And then by the time they got out of here, they were 20-something and 2 or 3, and got beat in semifinals or the district finals up in Storm Lake against New Fonda, which had us down. We were making a comeback, and then one of the kids got a technical foul, and we never could get back over the hump. But we've had some pretty good teams. We just never, never could really get over the hump as far as getting to Des Moines. But you look at what we did, I when you asked me, I couldn't have told you what we had for, that's the competitiveness coming back. I couldn't tell you what we had for wins, but I could sure dang tell you how many losses we had. Yeah, I could tell you that all the time, how many, we had. So, but we had good teams, and then we had some teams that didn't win, but they were still good kids. Majority of the time I've been here, I haven't had too many headaches from the kids. Yeah, we've had some headaches, but that's just 39 years. You're going to have that. But most of the time, the kids were great.
You mentioned Des Moines. Never got a chance to play either at Vets or now at Wells Fargo Arena. Does that bother you at all?
Somewhat, and like I've always said, that's the pinnacle for the coaching staff to get down there. But for me, it's also the pinnacle for the community. Arcadia, Westside, and Vale, they deserve it. We've been very fortunate. We've gotten down there in the girls' basketball program. But if you go back and look, when ArWeVa was playing down there, boy, they drew.
Yes, they did.
They follow in. The people in these communities love their sports. And, it'd been just nice to say that ArWeVa, went to the state in boys' basketball. But, things don't work out sometimes, and that was one of them. So, been nice, but, okay, I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Is it hard for you to pick what your best teams were, or does a couple of teams kind of jump out at you?
Well, yeah, because we've talked about, like I said, some of my best teams may not have been the 20 game winners and stuff. That they worked really hard and put everything they had into it, and the conference just was so much better. And back when we had Manning in the conference, NICAM in the conference, boy, you had to be ready. Dunlap was good. There was always, you had to be ready. But there are some times where it'd been nice if this team could have came over to this year, or we didn't have to go to this spot and we went to this spot, we would have made it. And then if the ball would have came off over here instead over there, we would have been good. But what the heck.
Boyer Valley Conference right away was ArWeVa in the Boyer Valley, and that stayed for a long time. I can't remember exactly what year it changed, but it was in the 90s. Talk about the old Boyer Valley Conference days, because I played in it, and you were just talking about that. To me, that league, I think a lot of people look at the schools today. A lot of them have gotten a lot smaller, maybe not as competitive as they used to be, but that league used to be really, really solid.
Yeah, and then some of them are not even around anymore. Some of the teams that are around, Schleswig is no longer in there. East Monona is no longer there. But it was West Harrison, Logan, just came right up Highway 30. Dunlap, Dow City, Arion, I can't remember Arion.
Absolutely.
And ArWeVa, Charter Oak, Schleswig, and we had a great conference, and it was really easy. A long trip. We had to go to West Harrison, Mondayman. We got to get on the Learjet. It's going to take us an hour and a half to get down there. But it was close and it was nice. And then, like you said, then some of the schools started getting smaller. Schleswig closed, East Monona got disbanded, but you still, most of the schools are still there. Dow City, got taken in by Dunlap and stuff like that. But the buildings are still there. Dunlap is still building, is still using Dow City building, and they still use the gym and stuff like that. Schleswig's just putting up a brand new gym. That old gym is still there. We play junior high basketball up there. West Monona or East Monona is no longer. I don't think there's anything in any of those, but they're still there, and it was good. Well, Craig Lynch taught at East Monona and coached basketball, so.
And he was at Boyer Valley for a little while.
Yes. Craig's been all over it.
How much did it change for you then when you guys started to have to change conferences when the Boyer Valley and it was at the Western Iowa Conference came to form? How much did that change for you guys, or not much?
It changed because now we were going ahead and our enrollment was starting to go down, and now we're starting to play bigger schools. We went up to Woodbury Central, Odebolt Arthur, Ida Grove, and so we had to change a little bit, Mapleton and stuff like that. So things got to be a little more competitive. Still, the Boyer Valley was involved, but it was a little more traveling time, those different schools you didn't know, and then you have to start figuring out who you can talk to about things, who you can't talk to about other things, and it was a big change as far as basketball goes, and the other sports, track and field and stuff like that, and baseball, and softball, but we just played because that's what the conference, and that just allowed us to survive because our numbers were getting small as far as the conference goes, and that gave us better opportunity to easier to schedule games and stuff like that.
Easy decision to go into the Rolling Valley when it formed?
Yes, it was. Now we're getting back into schools more of our size. Relatively still, East Monona is our West Harrison's our longest trip now. and still the schools are about very comparable. But again, we just lost Derek Casey. They just got whole grade sharing with the Guthrie Center. We're in the process of looking at some things. So our numbers are going down. So, they're going to have to look at some different things. Cam is looking at talking with people down in the southwest corner. So there might be some moves there. But schools are getting smaller, and just some schools aren't going to be around.
Talking again with Tim Bell, the retiring head boys basketball coach for the ArWeVa Rockets. And today's interview again brought to you by Western Iowa Networks. Tim, how much has the game changed since the 70s when you took over here at ArWeVa?
Well, the 3-point line was the biggest one. Now you got kids that are 6'7", 6'8",
Don't want to post up?
They don't want to post up. They don't go outside shoot that 3-pointer. And when it came in, I hated it. I just thought the worst thing ever. And we didn't utilize it. We just stayed away from it and did our things. We went ahead and guarded like we were supposed to and stuff like that. It's evolved. It's we got the kids that are bigger, stronger, and faster. You look at some of these kids. Well, you look at anybody right now. A 6'7" kid used to be a gigantic person. Now he's kind of so. And you got kids that are that big playing point guard and stuff like that, and they can shoot the ball. The strength thing, you got to be in the weight room and stuff like that if you're going to be competitive in all the sports. And so that's how that changed. Other than that, you still got to put the ball in the hole and you still got to play defense. It hasn't changed all that much, but just the trends and the motion offense, no pattern offense, and the junk defenses and stuff like that. They were there, but you just never saw them as much, and now you see them quite a bit.
Do you think the sport's still viable, and where's the sport at right now in the state of Iowa?
It is. It's still viable, and it's still going to grow. The kids that are playing right now are getting more, what's the word I want to use, directed to one area only. That, ball handling skills, you're going to leave that to the guard. A big guy, you're going to work on your post moves. But the problem is that we're getting to one sport per kid. We don't play all the sports anymore now. You're going to have to be, in this sport if you want to go on and do bigger and better things. That's some of the things that I get upset about is for our size school, you have to do all this stuff. I mean, even Carroll, you're starting to see some things happen over there that they're not getting all the kids involved, so some of the programs are not doing as well. So that's something that you need to look at as far as getting everybody involved. You check some of the college coaches and stuff like that. They want to know, did you go out for anything besides basketball?
Right.
And he says, they want the well-rounded individuals coming too, so you get all the other activities involved.
Talk about the benefits of that. A lot of kids today don't quite understand. They think if I just play the one sport all year round, it's going to help me, but it doesn't all the time.
No. One thing that sticks in my mind, okay, you're going to practice basketball all the time. I'm a baseball person. I'm a football person. But if you don't come out for baseball and football, I may not be able to play my sports because we don't have the teams. Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to get stronger because you're going to be in the weight room for all those sports. Okay, you're going to work on your quickness for all those sports, and you're going to get the camaraderie. And now the people are going, oh, Jeff came out for football and baseball, even though he's not very good at it. And I'll go out for basketball because now we can, we're all going to benefit from it. But it's that camaraderie, working with the other teammates and the teammate aspect of it, teamwork, that's going to get you better and it's going to help you along the long run. If you're just going to be that, I person, I'm number one, I'm just going to work on myself. You're not, okay, what's going to happen now when you come to this team in college or whatever? Well, all you know about yourself, you're not going to pass the ball. Right. Well, nobody wants to play with you, and you're not going to probably play.
Coach, you mentioned weightlifting. How much has that changed the game, or has it had much of an impact?
It has. You just had to watch the Big 12 finals, the goggles guy, as they said, the young kid wanted to see the goggles guy on West Virginia's team. Well, I think he had 6% body fat.
Yeah.
And they talk about who is somebody that you can't move. And they said, Williams, I think his name, I don't know, but he says, yeah, you look at it before, it used to be like when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they were just these little scrawny guys out there when they were in college. Well, now if you were like Larry Bird, like now playing right now, he'd be getting the heck beat out of him all the time. So bigger, bulkier, and you just got it's so much more physical, and if you're going to play big time basketball, you're going to have to, or big time football or baseball, you're going to have to get your weights on and put the weight on you, but to get in the weight room.
You guys have had so many great players over the years. I know it's hard to remember probably everyone. The guy that stands out for me, Lynn Tryon, he broke your guys' school scoring record against us one night, and I was the guy guarding him when he did it. But Coach Edwards over at Kemper likes to tease me about the picture that's hanging on the wall. But who were some of the other great players that you've had come through your program?
Like I said, the first year with Terry Rickards, his senior year averaged about 30 points a game, and probably he had a double-double, and he was rebounding was double figures. And offensively, Russell Hawley played point guard for us. Chip Tiedemann and Dan Cook were the big guys. They were sophomores. But, there's all kinds of kids in there. And then you go up to like 82, 83. You get Mark Regaller, Mark Wyckoff, Kobe Gress, Jimmy Stoke, and Brad Nobling. And Doug Ehlers played in that team. And that was we got the farthest at my time at that point with as far as wins and getting along in the tournament time. Mark went ahead and set the school scoring record at that time, and then it stayed that way until Lynn came along. Okay, and then Lynn got that record broken. Lynn was only here for 2 years.
Yep.
And then Adam Piper came along, and in I think it was 95, 96, went ahead and broke Lynn's record. And then you go down the line farther, and you have Teddy Hawley, won. So I had Russell Hawley as a coach my first year, and then I had Teddy Hawley, and I've had more than that as far as dad and sons playing. But you think about it that way. We used to have a pair of shorts that Mark Regaller used to have, and me in defense.
Oh yeah.
He had a 50-cent floor burn from being on the floor. And I kept those shorts, and I said, "This is what happens when you play defense. You burn holes into your uniform, And I love the kids that play defense.
Yep.
Anybody can score.
Yep.
Kids are out there. If you play defense, you only have to score 1 point.
Yeah.
So that's me, but that's the atmosphere that I enjoy. If you play some good, tough defense, you're going to be able to turn around, and go down the other end, and score. If you just keep hounding, and and we always said that if you go out and guard somebody and you get in their shorts and you play them really, really tough, you're going to find out that after a while they're going to quit because they don't want to work and work and work just to get open, and then all of a sudden just fling up a shot because that's the only time they're going to get it. And then all of a sudden your job's going to be really easy because that person is just going to walk around or whatever, and they're not going to look for the offense. And the coach is going to get upset. And now we're the winners because now you've taken the best player or that player out of the game. Mm-hmm. Now they put somebody else in, and now you've done your job.
How much do you stay in contact with a lot of your former players?
Oh, I see quite a few of them, quite a bit. It was good when we had the 500 victory here that a lot of them came back and stuff like that. Russell lives in town in Vail. I saw Terry Rickards not too long ago. Dan teaches here. Those guys. But yeah, there's quite a few of them that come back, come to the games and stuff like that. And a lot of them keep in touch as far as watching things on the video on the computers and stuff like that when we get the broadcast and stuff like that. So that's really good for them.
You mentioned Al, longtime assistant. What's it been like coaching with him all these years?
Oh, it's great. I could probably just sit there, and Al go get him. Al and I are on the same wavelength, whatever you want to call it. Same age. He's older than I am. Like I mentioned that. He's older than I am. But his birthday's in December. Mine's in January. But known him since I've been down here. Mom and Dad live north of town. He's an old Westside boy. And he thinks the same way I think. His philosophy is the same as my philosophy. And if I see something out there, then, I'll say something. But if he says something, he doesn't have to ask permission. He's got just as much right sitting down there as I do, and the kids respect him and stuff like that. And you can always know when things are in trouble because he's got a vein that's on his neck starts throbbing. And I told the kids, said, if you see that vein throbbing, you better get behind somebody because somebody's going to get lambasted. But it's good because he knows what's the game very well, and he probably should have been a head coach. And he's very comfortable being an assistant coach. And he does a very good job at that. Craig Christopherson was before Al, and Craig always wanted me to be gone so he could put in his new offense and coach a game, and then I'd be sick. It seemed like it was always against Schleswig. I'd be sick, but I'd make it to the game. And Craig would be mad because, well, I didn't think you were going to be here, so we were going to do this and this. But those two guys have been a big part of the basketball family, and they've done outstanding jobs. And I can't speak highly enough of either one of them. I've been lost without them, especially Al, because all the stuff he's done. And then Craig, we played town team ball. Craig and Al and all us guys did. But it was, we just did a lot of things together, and it was fun. And, I enjoyed it. That made things help me out, but it made things enjoyable while we're there.
What all went into your decision that now was the time to step away?
There's only been two things. Okay, one was like we've mentioned before, I wasn't going to leave the cupboard empty. Mm-hmm. I was going to leave some athletes for the next person that's going to get the job. And the main reason is because I've seen it too many times where these coaches go ahead and have outstanding teams, and they stick it to people and stuff like that. And then as soon as all the players are gone or whatever, or they're moving up, and it seemed like it was when all the players were gone, they moved up to another school or whatever, and the next person came in and says, well, yeah, they beat us by 20 points last year, so, and they didn't have the athletes this year, so now they're going to get beat by 20, and now as a coach, there goes your confidence.
Right.
And, you want to get a good foundation, good base, to be able to build on, and you always want those wins. And those wins are going to be something that you're going to look at and say, oh, yeah, we did a pretty good job. And then, most of us, you're going to lose.
Right.
And so now you got to think, I had these good years, now I got these bad years. Now what can I do to get back to the good years? So that was the main reason. And the second was I was just tired. It was feeling good to go home, sitting down, and after school or whatever, and just relax and stuff like that. And I'm no longer the slim, trim person I was way back in the 70s, but, it's just felt good to say it's done.
What do you think you'll miss about it?
Oh, the games, the competitiveness at times, seeing the coaches and stuff like that. And then the kids, you be around the kids is really, it's a lot of fun. And there's some goofballs, and that's I fit right in with them, I'm a goofball, but, that's the kids, and then, going to the gyms and stuff, I don't know if probably will go to games and stuff like that. I don't have to ride the dang yellow thing anymore.
Yes.
That's
That'll be
if they
nice.
told me I didn't have to ride the yellow thing, I would have stayed.
Tim, what's the future for you then? What are you going to do?
Don't know right now. It's kind of up in the air. I've had offers from my daughter in Florida to come down and live with her down there, and her daughter and her husband. They live in Tampa Bay, and they both are in the Air Force and MacDill Air Force Base.
Okay.
And then I have a daughter who's in middle one. Lauren is in Minnesota, and then Tilly and her family are in Ames. So I kind of make a circle, but Tampa Bay would probably in wintertime would be outstanding. I helped them move down from Goldsboro, North Carolina, in August. And we drove from all the way down to Tampa, and it was kind of interesting. I'd never been in that part of the state or country, and they said they put up a brand new swimming pool in their backyard so I can come swim. And I said, I don't care about swimming. Can I get on the base so I can play golf? And
There you go.
Golf courses on there, and I said, well, we can probably get you on and play golf. So that but other than that, they have I have to do something. Cost of insurance right now. I'm going to have to figure out some way to pay my insurance costs and stuff like that. And I have to sit out until October for IPERS, and then after that, if the school needs a sub or something, it's such a long way for me to get here. If they need something, I can always help out there.
Well, Tim, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure covering you for the last 12 years and playing against you years ago. And appreciate all your time.
Your team. You didn't play against me.
Yeah,
You to be
played against the teams he coached. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeff.
Tim, appreciate it. You bet. Tim Bell again, the head coach for the ArWeVa Rockets. Again, 527 career victories with ArWeVa.